The Association of Black Securities and Investment Professionals has expressed their concerns over the recent violence in the country. They say the unrest and violence are setback for businesses, infrastructure and the economy at large. But more importantly, the unrest will negatively affect the township economy. The association today hosts an imbizo on township economy under the theme Rebuilding, Restoring and Revitalizing the Township Economy, as the Gauteng Department of Economic Development has invited members of the public to submit comments on the Gauteng Township Economic Development Bill. To discuss this more, we're joined now by the Association of Black Securities and Investment Professionals, President Polo, Leteka-Radebe. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. I suppose more than ever before, hosting this imbizo under this theme is quite imperative. We've seen week-long chaos and violence that spiraled into some deep concerns when it comes to the economic performance of townships, not only townships, but the country in its entirety.
No, absolutely. And of course, we have been very concerned about it. But I think, Paul, what we have acknowledged for a long time is that what happened in the past almost 2 weeks now, and continues to happen in small parts in certain areas, was probably a long time coming. It might have been catalyzed by the latest events, but certainly the state of the township economy has been crying for attention from all of us, not just government, all of us as citizens, all of us who are in a position to influence, who are in a position to invest, who are in a position to make a difference, to ensure that we build real African cities out of the townships that were established during the apartheid era.
What are the loopholes here? Because there's a lot of discussion about economic transformation, inclusive growth, competitiveness, revitalizing the township economy. But there seems to be loopholes, judging from the outcome and the performance, that could really be much more than what we're seeing. What are policymakers missing when it comes to the data and the reality on the ground?
I think it's a number of things. I think first things first, townships were a deliberate structure. They were structured in the manner that they were, in the main, to serve as cheap labor sending areas to the cities, where we would then make the lives of white people better. That's how they were structured, from a legislative perspective and from a number of points of view, even where they are located. So what I believe policymakers made the mistake of right from the beginning was that we did not go back and say, so structurally, what is it that needs to change fundamentally in order for us to change the lives of these labor sending areas? Because that's what they were meant to be, and they continue to be, unfortunately, more than 27 years into democracy. So I think what we are trying to do today is to really get to the foundational issues and the structural issues of why it is that townships, despite the South African economy having grown in leaps and bounds since 1994, the township economy has more or less remained where it was pre-1994. Mm-hmm. And it is important to remember, though, that despite the structural arrangements that were in place at the time, townships actually were thriving economies. We were talking with my colleagues the other day that we went to the local doctor, we went to the local bakery, we went to the local store. Mm-hmm. We were self-sufficient despite the intention that we should not be self-sufficient. And the question that we have been asking ourselves is, when the rest of the economy grew and benefited from democracy, why is it that the townships have done as a country? What has happened in the past is that very many corporates and government interventions have been from the top down, where we've been very presumptuous and assumed that we understand what needs to happen in order for us to unlock the potential, because the potential is there. There's no question about it. There are very many intelligent people in the township. There are highly educated people in the township. There are highly entrepreneurial people in the township, and very resilient for that matter. But I do not know that we have done sufficient listening. And because we have not listened sufficiently, we have not been able to properly understand what needs to be done so that the solutions we propose are responsive to what the people in the communities are saying they need in order for them to be able to unlock what we know and what they know is their potential.
Absolutely.
And that's what today is about.
And Polo, very quickly, there are many national and local government initiatives aimed at stimulating the township economy, but very often they're less than successful and, they are not implemented as they should be. What are some of the barriers there that you will be addressing when you meet today for the Imbizo?
As I said earlier, some of the initiatives have not been successful because they have not been appropriate. So we need to be responsive to what the people tell us they need to be done. That's number one. So that's what we're going to be listening to and feeding that back to our stakeholders, to governments, to municipalities, to DFIs and all other corporates who say that they are trying to do something in the economy. But we should not forget, Mpho, that there are a lot of good initiatives already underway in the township economy. There are very many young people, old people who have started initiatives, and we've seen this across social media over the past 2 weeks, where people are going in, rebuilding, doing very good work, which is probably the work that we need to be doing. And what we also want to figure out today is how do we then give a push to that? So we're not, again, coming in as AFSIP and saying we're going to find solutions. We're going to be listening. And some of the speakers will be telling us about these are the solutions we've already started implementing and they are working. And we're then going to figure out how do we then play the role, because we are an advocacy organization. How do we then link the resources that the people are saying they need in order to support an already growing movement where people are rebuilding themselves, because the township people are already rebuilding, by the way, they're reconstructing. And what we want to do is to also then say, okay, let's understand everything that is also underway. What is good about it? What should we be doing more of? What should we be doing less of? And then how do we bring the resources? Because we've got the relationships, right? Because we're sitting in the middle, listening to the township people telling us this is what we need and this is what we're doing and this is working. But in order for us to be able to propel this forward and build a great momentum behind it so that we can build real successful African cities in the townships, because we should not be seeking to be building another Sandton city. Sandton is Sandton for reasons that it is. But we want Ekurhuleni, we want Khalishewe, we want Bontsiwa, we want Seshego, we want Mitchell's Plain, we want Easteras to become their own cities, successful in their own way, based on the solutions that the people are telling us are required. So we want to have that conversation so that we can then feed back to the people who've got the resources and say, if you do this, if you bring this kind of funding, if you bring this kind of support, if you bring technology, for instance, we are in the age of digital technology. If you bring fiber into the townships, so that we can make sure that everybody has access to the internet and access to data, free data or cheap data. These are the things that we are starting to hear people say that these are the things that are going to unlock. So we just want to really be an interlocutor, if you will, between what the community tells us.
We're going to have to leave it there. I would have liked for us to expand this conversation even further to talk about the Gauteng Township Economic Development Bill. But we're going to have to leave it here for now. Thank you so much for your time. Of course, getting some insight on some of the expectations when the Imbizo gets underway. That was the Association of Black Securities and Investment Professionals President, Polo Leteka-Radebe, giving us more insight and some of the expectations when it comes to this very important discussion on stimulating township economies.